Hey, what's up? This is Jordan Harris. You're watching Sports Truth. So today I have a lot of things to talk about as far as this Miami Florida State game. I don't want to go over the stats like I typically do because so many different things to cover. So let's just jump right into it. First, I want to talk about the fact that I learned a lot about our Miami Hurricanes team today, but I think I learned more about myself than I learned about the team. And what I learned about myself is that I have what might be an unhealthy dislike for the Florida State Seminoles. I cannot stand that team. I cannot stand them. I don't like their colors. I don't like their mascot. I don't like the logo. Um, I don't like that horse that the dude comes running out on. I don't like the stadium. I have what I think would be considered an unhealthy dislike for this team. But anyway, let's move on. So, first thing I want to say to the Miami fans who are watching this is let's not overreact to this loss. And the reason why I say this is because the season was over for us anyway. Whether we won or lost this game, nothing else changed. So we're going to go to a bowl game. So if you want to look forward to going to a better bowl game, great, but I don't really care much about that. We weren't going to be going to the ACC championship. We weren't going to be going to the big tournament, the Big Four. We're not going to that. We're not going to win the national championship because we beat Florida State. So let's not overreact to this. What this game did was it basically told us what we had to look forward to. That's all it could do. We had a chance to play spoiler to Florida State, which, whatever. Well, we didn't have a chance to do anything else. The season was already over before this game. So don't overreact to this loss, okay? Um, I thought so. Let's talk about the reason why I thought we would win this game. I made a video before this one earlier today, or maybe yesterday, and I talked about why I thought we actually would or could win this game. Most people who are Miami fans that made videos, and actually the Florida State fans too, people thought we'd be down 28-0 at halftime. And I'm like, actually, I think this game is like 50-50. I thought we had just as good a chance to win the game as Florida State did. And the reasons why, let's talk about those reasons. So the reasons why, first, is that I knew that we had just as much, if not more, talent on our team, Miami, than Florida State did. I made a video. I made uh, I did like a picture. Let's just call it a picture, a graph. And I was showing how many 4-star and 5-star athletes Miami had compared to Florida State. Miami had more 5-star athletes on the team right now, and Miami has more 5-star athletes than Florida State has on their team. So I knew that our talent, we stacked up with them just fine. I knew that for a fact. Um, the other reason why I thought we had a really good chance of winning this game is because I feel like Florida State is not as good as people think they are. I think that they have far more holes in their team than most people think. I believe that people look at the score, they look at the teams they're playing, they look at how Florida State seems to dominate in the third and fourth quarters of every game, and they go, yeah, that team probably should be a top four. And then they also look at how many wins they have in a row. I think it's like 16 wins in a row or something like that. But I look at them compared to like Georgia. I look at them compared to Michigan. I look at them compared to Alabama of last year and the year before, and I just don't believe that Florida State should be uh, 2 or 3 slots below Georgia. I don't think they should. I don't think they have any business being 1 or 2 slots near Michigan. I don't think it's even close between those teams. But that's just my thoughts on that. Another reason why I thought we would win is because Jordan Travis, I don't think he is as good as people think. Um, I know that like as far as like him being elusive, top notch elusive. Like his elusivity is crazy. I'll give him that. But his ability to throw it down the field, his ability to read 1, 2, 3, and then throw it to whomever may be open, I don't think he's that great at that. I think he's just pretty decent. Um, and then I thought that Jordan Travis would give us points this game. I thought Jordan Travis would either throw a pick six to us I thought maybe he would give us a scoop and score by trying to do too much, fumbling, and then we pick it up and take it to the house. And I thought maybe he would give us a safety, just give us 2 points maybe, which some of y'all maybe think that he probably did give us 2 points, but the referees had other thoughts. I don't know. So another reason why I thought we would win is if you've actually watched the games and not just looked at the stats and the highlights, you would know that the losses that we have were kind of, I don't know what you want to call it, but like Georgia Tech, for one, we should have kneeled the ball. That should have been a W. Like, that should have been a W up and down. Easy W, but we ran it, fumbled it, they took it and scored. Crazy fluke of a game. Even more than that, our quarterback was throwing the ball to the other team. He was the best player on Georgia Tech's team that game. So when you combine those, like, yeah, that should have been a W. North Carolina, that's the one game where I look at it and I go, man, I think we just got outplayed. But even more than that, like, again, our quarterback was, his head was so lopsided and crazy that like that day, the offensive coordinator didn't know what to call. The quarterback's throwing interceptions. Our offense is sputtering because of that. The offense is losing faith in the quarterback. It was just all kind of problems. So, yeah, they beat us pretty handily. The defense had problems in that game and everything. So that's the one loss that I'm like, yeah, we earned that loss. Like, nothing we could really do about that one. It seemed like North Carolina just beat us. But North Carolina State, that's another one where I felt like we should have won that one, but the offensive coordinator didn't know what to call because our quarterback, Tyler Van Dyke, was just, his mind was all over the place. Like, what do you call when your quarterback seems like he wants to throw it to the other team? What do you call? So Georgia Tech and North Carolina State, those are two losses that I really don't think that our team, quote unquote, earned. Like, I don't think they just got outplayed that day. I think it was one player, quarterback, that really lost those games for us. So coming into this game, I felt like there was only one game that we really lost, which was the North Carolina game. That we really earned, I should say. We really earned that loss. They just outdid us. So now I want to talk about the most important part of the video, which is the takeaways from this game. So my takeaways is I believe Florida State is overrated, but they are number 4. Like, they've earned that ranking of number 4 in the nation, and we played them close. We had them like in a real game. So the fact that they blew the doors off of us last year, and then this year we play them to such a close game, that should be something to be really like excited about. Um, in my previous video, I also talked about how Miami, I thought that we had a really good chance of winning this game because I think that Miami's team is really legit this year. And I know we had those 3 losses before Florida State game. I understand that. But I really believe everywhere outside of our quarterback is legit. Like, I think our safeties, maybe the best in the country. If you saw how, if you watched this game and looked at the protection that Emory Williams had, it was really impressive. Like, if you go back and look at how we looked last year against Clemson or Florida State, every time we dropped back to throw it, the quarterback had like zero point 0.5 seconds before he had to scramble or do something crazy. This time, Emory Williams could sit back there and just bounce back and read the field and then throw to his second or third read. He had so much time. I was really impressed by that. Our offensive line could stand up to just about anybody in the country, and it's been a long time since we've been able to say that. Excuse me. A defensive line, same thing there. We're playing against the number 4 team in Florida State, and their quarterback looked so uncomfortable. It's crazy. Like, Jordan Travis got sacked a couple of times for like I think a negative 10 yards each time. He's running around for his life, you know what I'm saying? So the fact that our defensive line could get pressure on the opposing quarterback on a top 5 team, we haven't done that in forever. Just look at how we looked against Clemson or Florida State the last few years. We could never penetrate their offensive line, but now we were getting pressure back there with just 4 people, 4 rushers. That's really impressive. I really believe we are just one player away. We begged and begged for our coach to make a quarterback change, and he finally did it, and I think we should give him credit for that. And I know y'all going to be like, give him credit for that. Like, it was obvious he needed to do that, but he didn't do it before. He did it this time. So let's talk about the change he made. He played Emory Williams this game instead of TVD. What I learned about Emory, so the takeaway that I have from watching Emory play an entire game outside of that Clemson game, is that he is a DAWG. Emory is a dog for real. And I saw him run through a Florida State player. Had no idea he had that kind of heart in him. Had no idea. Um, he did hurt his arm. It looked pretty significant to me. I'm just sitting on my couch watching it, but it looked pretty rough. The way he was just laying there, kicking his feet, holding his arm still, screaming and crying. Like it seems like it's pretty significant, and I doubt he'll play again this year, which is really unfortunate. But it is part of football, man. That's part of what happens. Um, yeah, that was really tough to see that. Another thing I want to talk about with Emery is that I really appreciated his exuberance for the game. Like he seemed like he brought a really high level of excitement to the game. He is one of those rah rah kind of quarterbacks, which I believe you have to be a leader in football. You have to be somewhat rah rah every now and again. And if you watch some of my previous videos, you remember I was talking about one of the things that I was irritated watching Tyler Van Dyke was he seemed like his body language was just trash. Like he would throw an interception, his head drops, and he's just limping off the field, and then he goes to the sideline, just plops on the bench, and I'm like, golly, my man. Like, but when I saw Williams today, he was walking up and down the field. He was walking up and down the sideline, clapping his hands, encouraging his offensive line, telling his wide receivers, "My fault, I miss you on that." Like he seems like he brings a certain exuberance to the game that I think is really, really needed for a quarterback. I really appreciate that. Seems like his leadership skills are natural. I think that's real cool. Um, but I'm just watching this game. I think he's quite a way. I mean, he is a freshman, and this is his second start, and he was starting at Doak Campbell Stadium. Like that's a big ask, right? Big ask for a young quarterback like that. But I think he is far from being a game-changing quarterback. Division One football right now, not just Division One football, but like top 10 schools. I think if he's playing against a top 10 school, I think he would struggle quite a bit against the Alabamas. Anybody from the SEC, some of the high-level ACC teams. Some of the high-level Pac-12 right now, even though they're going to do whatever they're going to do next year. I think he would struggle against a lot of those teams right now. Um, but, yeah, one of the reasons why I feel like he is far away from being one of those game-changing quarterbacks is because he missed quite a few today. Like just watching that game, I was really frustrated. It was hard for me to talk bad about the guy because he's a freshman playing at Florida State against the number 4 team in the country. Like it's a big ask, but he missed Restrepo a couple of times. Yeah, he just missed him. Like one time, Restrepo did like a 5-yard slant, and it looked like he had plenty of room to run after he caught it, but Emery threw it behind him. Like it looked like he was leading the cornerback almost because Restrepo had the corner following him, and Williams ended up throwing it between the corner and Restrepo. And I'm like, whoa! So he just threw it behind him. That was tough to see. Another pass, he hit the referee. He was throwing it across the middle of the field, and he hit the referee. But if the referee wasn't there, the ball was coming in too low anyway. Like you could see it from different angles where the ball was thrown way too low. So he just seemed like he was really off target today. Maybe it was jitters, I don't know, but he seemed really off target. But I did like the fact that he stood in the pocket strong and looked at multiple reads and then threw the ball. He just was so off target. That was shocking to me. It even made me, I'm not gonna lie, a couple of times I was like, if he's gonna be that off target, then you might as well just put Brown in there, and have you know add a running wrinkle to the game. But that was just my thoughts there. Um, Now let's talk about what I think we should do with the quarterback position going forward. So this is the $1 million question, right? Okay, so my thought process is this: the next couple of games, the only thing we can possibly get from these games is knowing what we're knowing what we're going to get from certain players for the future. That's the only thing that these next couple of games can give us. Because we're not going to win the whole thing. It might give us a from the Cheez It Bowl to the Little Caesars Bowl, but who cares about that? So what I say is we already know what we're getting from Tyler Van Dyke. We already know what we're getting from him. So let's not play him anymore this year. Just say the injuries cost him the rest of his season and help him get a transfer. God bless you. I think we know what we're. I mean, Williams is probably not going to play again for the rest of the year based on him getting injured. But even if he could play, I think we know what we're getting from him. He seems like he is a pocket passer. Obviously, doesn't have a whole lot of mobility. He does have the confidence to stand in there and do multiple reads. I'm not sure if his accuracy is going to improve. I'm thinking that it most likely would, especially once his nerves calm down a little bit. But I think what we should do is I would love to see Brown start the rest of this year and just see what we have in Brown. If I was Brown, I would probably be looking to transfer because he's got Tyler Van Dyke in front of him. He's got Emory Williams, who apparently is solidly in front of him. But I say let's go ahead and put Brown out there and see what we got. Let's just see what we got, man. See what kind of accuracy he has. See what kind of wheels he has, which we saw some of those last year. But let's just see what we got. What I think, what I think the coach should be doing tonight. What I think Mario Cristobal should be doing tonight, right now. I live in Kansas. It's 1 o'clock in the morning in Kansas. So I don't know what time it is in Florida. But I think he should be text messaging people who are in the transfer portal right now, telling them we are one player away. I will be texting every available quarterback who plays for a big time school and who has big time high school tape, and they just didn't have an opportunity to play. I'll be texting every single one of them saying, "You're the player that we need to put us over the top. We're one player away. Our defensive line is set. Our offensive line is set. Our defensive backs are set. Our linebackers are set. Running backs, we're good everywhere except quarterback, and you're the guy that can get us over the top." I'll be contacting every single quarterback who has college football experience and say, we're in a win now mode. We need you to come here and get us over the hump. That's what I think he needs to do. Because to me, it feels like I don't think we have the team to win the whole thing right now, as far as I'm concerned, except at the quarterback position. And I believe we need to go with a win now mentality, and bring somebody in from some other school who's played multiple downs and they're just not happy, and just have them come over and be our starting quarterback next year. That's what I really think that our starting quarterback needs to be somebody who doesn't play on the Miami Hurricanes roster right now. That's really what I believe. Because I think Emory Williams is probably, I don't know. I feel like he's probably a year or two away. Um, Now let's talk about wide receivers real quick. I don't think the wide receivers helped Emory too much tonight. I think that they need to get more separation. That was pretty frustrating to see that they had no type of separation tonight. Also want to talk about Cheney, running back. I think that he played really well. I think he had 80 something yards, had a couple of big plays too. But every time I watch him play, and this is from the first half of Georgia Tech up until now, when I see him running into a crowd, I'm always screaming, hold on to the ball. Before you get tackled, put two hands on it. To me, it seems like he still hasn't learned that lesson, even after fumbling against Georgia Tech. Tonight, I'm still screaming at the TV every time he gets tackled, because he's got players all around him, and he's still holding the ball with one hand. He has got to put two hands on the ball, man, which is shocking to me that he's still not doing that, but whatever. I don't know what to tell you about that. I also want to cover offensive coordinator. Talk about that a little bit. So there's a lot of people who are questioning his offensive coordinator, questioning his ability to show some tricks and to be kind of, be special when it comes to his play calling, because they're saying that his play calling is too vanilla. So let's think back a little bit. So when we played against Texas A&M, The first half, we had some. We looked like we were doing whatever we wanted to Texas A&M. And if you remember, they showed the sideline a couple of times after a couple of those touchdowns, and like people were high fiving the offensive coordinator. They were hugging him and doing all kind of stuff. Like he was all smiles. And the reason why they were hugging him and giving him high fives is because he was calling some nasty stuff on that day. He called all kind of plays that I was like, we ain't never seen anything creative like that here at Miami. Just go back and look at that tape, and you'll see some of the ways that we scored those first three, probably the 3 or 4 games that we played. He called some pretty creative stuff. So what changed from like the fourth game to like the sixth, seventh, and eighth? What changed? And what changed was Tyler Van Dyke. Like he started the year confident and competent. He was able to read defenses and throw it to our team those first few games. Since then, all he wants to do is throw it to the other team. That's all he wants to do. So, if that's the case, what should he call? What could he call? And I'm really asking that. Like, if you want to leave that in the comment section, I would love to. I would love to be able to respond back to you because if you like, sure, I would love to see more pre-snap motion from him just to confuse the defense a little bit, make them think a little bit. I would love to see more pre-snap motions. Like, that's what the 49ers do. That's why they're so efficient because they do so much pre-snap motion. It confuses everybody. They're like, okay, who do you got? Who do you got? Who do you got? And before you know it, the ball is snapped and they're running the other way. So I would like to see more of that. But I mean, what would you call? Would you call 5 wide and have some deep posts and all? Like, no, you don't want Tyler Van Dyke throwing it deep across the middle of the field, knowing that he has a propensity to throw it to the other team. Like, come on now, let's just be honest. So I think people are being a little too critical of him. If you have a freshman quarterback playing against the number 4 team on the road, what do you call? What would you want him to call? Do you really think that he should do play action, fake to the left, fake to the right, throw deep across the middle, 50? No, like he's not going to be doing all that. He's going to do a bubble screen over here, screen pass over there, play action, one read, throw it across the middle, like just one read, because it's too much going on. It's too much to ask for a freshman on the road against the number 4 team in the country. Like, okay, so relax on the offensive coordinator. I do think in this game we started off playing super aggressive on offense. Like we started the game playing in our own end zone, and the first play of the game we throw it deep. I was like, oh, he's not scared to let this quarterback throw the ball today. That was crazy. But even still, like I think he started off playing aggressive, and in that second half, I do think he took his foot off the gas as far as the aggressive goes. I think he just got real nervous, not wanting to lose the game because he was so in it. He was trying to keep from giving it away. Like once you in a game and it's really, really close, you're trying not to call a play that's going to give it away. And I think that's what he was trying to do. But we do have to figure out how to get a 3rd and 1. We got to figure that out. I don't know what it's going to take to get 3rd and 1s, but we got to do something different. It ain't working. Quick hitters. Let's just go through some of the things and highlight some of the plays throughout the game. The safety, it definitely was a safety. Like, it was a safety. It's only 2 points, but it was a safety. Let's just be done with that. My thoughts going into the halftime, we were tied up. We had the momentum. I felt really good. I really believed we were going to win at that point. I was like, oh, yeah, we got these fools. I thought they were going to tighten up as far as Florida State. I thought they started playing tight, and then they might cause a turnover or so that would give us the game. The targeting call on Williams, I don't know how they didn't call that targeting. Looked like he hit him with his helmet, spearing. The Benson long touchdown, that was tough to see, but we called a blitz on the left side of their line, and they had a perfect play call to the right side of the line. Perfect play call. What are you going to do about that? The touchdown to Jacoby George, my thoughts on that, like it cut it to 7 points, so yeah, be excited about that. But I wasn't thrilled because it's not how you score. It's not that you scored, it's how you score a lot of the times. And the fact that we weren't able to move the ball down the field, but we got one fluky touchdown for like 70 yards, I was like, okay, we got that one, but we're not going to do that again. We haven't moved the ball all second half. So how are we going to score again? That was my thought process. Then that last drive, it was a lot to ask of TVD. Tough situation, but it was a fitting end that he threw an interception. He did miss Restrepo, who I thought was open. So let's talk about the positive things. Major improvement from the last couple of years. We are now competing with the top teams in the nation, blow for blow. That is really impressive and something to be positive about. Goal line stops last year, the year before. If you put Florida State, Clemson against us, and they're on the 5 yard line, they're walking into the end zone every time. Today, we held them on those first three and had to kick field goals. That was nice to see. Uh, and then like we're one position away. I keep saying that this team is it holds up to the top teams in the nation everywhere except quarterback. If we get that quarterback, we're gonna be just fine. So I really expect us to compete for a national championship, if not next year, the year after that. I really believe that. So that's all that I got for you today. I appreciate you watching the video. I know it was a long one, a whole lot of stuff to talk about. Please do like the video, subscribe. As always, I appreciate your time. Thank you for watching. God bless. Take care. Peace.